It's Goldman Diaries. Uncle Chris is funny. He was tickling Mommy on the couch. That's what my 7-year-old son said. And that's when I knew they weren't even hiding it anymore. And I let him in. I opened the door myself, carried his boxes, made up the guest bed. I thought I was helping a friend through a divorce. Turns out, he'd already started a new life. Inside my home, Chris called late. Said, "It's over. She's gone. No drama. Just silence." I told him, "Pack a bag. Come stay here." He moved in the next day. One duffel, one box of tools. Guest room. Clean sheets. Done. Emma didn't flinch. Said, "It's temporary." Smiled. The first week was fine. We worked. Came home. Drank beer. Watched games. Talked like always. He helped around the house. Changed a light bulb. Repaired the screen door. Nothing major. Tyler was thrilled. Uncle Chris made paper planes. Stayed for bedtime stories. Laughed louder than I had in months. Emma noticed. She said, "He's good with him." One Saturday, I walked in. Chris was stirring pancake batter. Emma at the sink, barefoot, laughing. I froze. That laugh. I hadn't heard it in a long time. She looked over. Said, "Chris fixed the toaster." Like that explained everything. I smiled. Said, "Thanks." But something pulled tight inside my chest. Later, I saw her hand brush his wrist as she passed him a plate. Too casual. Too easy. That night I told myself, they're old friends. I'm imagining things. But I started watching. Just in case. Because every time I came home late, they were in the kitchen, side by side, talking quieter, laughing longer, and never noticing me at the door. I told myself, it's fine. He needs support. She's being kind. But I felt something, and that instinct didn't fail me. A week later, I saw the way she looked at him and realized that wasn't the look of a hostess. That was the look of a woman in love. It started with lipstick, a soft pink, not bright, not flashy, but she never wore it on weekends. We weren't going out. We had no plans. Just pancakes, cartoons, and laundry. But there she was, hair brushed, mascara on, lips done. She said, "Felt like looking human today." I said nothing, but something inside me blinked. That same afternoon, I came back from taking out the trash. The living room was full of light. Chris and Emma on the couch. He showed her something on his phone. She laughed. A real laugh, sharp, free, head back. I stood behind the half wall. She didn't notice. And it hit me. She hadn't laughed like that with me in months. I made noise on purpose, opened the fridge, slammed the door. Later that week, I saw her standing in front of the mirror, fixing her hair. At 6 p.m. In sweatpants. I asked, "Going somewhere?" She said, "No." "Why?" Kept brushing. I watched her from the doorway. She caught my eye, held it, then looked away, like I was the one interrupting. That night, she made pasta. Set 2 plates on the table. One for me, one for Chris. And when he said thank you, she smiled again. The same smile. Soft. Familiar. I started watching. And then I saw how she looked at him like he was hers. It happened over dinner. A nothing moment. But something cracked. Emma had made chili. Chris went for seconds. I reached for the salt. She said, "Maybe try it first." I looked up. She was smiling. But it wasn't for me. Chris laughed. "It's perfect, honestly. Better than I ever had." I said, "You want to cook next time?" He grinned. She said, "Don't be rude." It was a joke. But the tone hit wrong. I dropped the spoon. Said, "I'm not being rude." Chris raised both hands. "Hey, all good." But the moment stuck. Her voice. Her face. The way she looked at him, not me. Later that night, Tyler spilled juice on the couch. I told him to get a towel. Chris said, he didn't mean to. He's just tired. Light tone. Friendly. Emma added, "You don't need to snap." I didn't raise my voice. Didn't even get up. But suddenly, I was the one out of line. They sat close. I sat across. They looked at each other. I looked at the clock. I got up. Took my plate to the sink. Didn't speak. No one stopped me. And after that night, it kept happening. Small things. Chris offering to pick up Tyler from school. Emma saying that would help a lot. No one asked me. They rearranged Saturday chores. did grocery runs together, planned dinner without checking. I was still there, still in the house, but not in it, just orbiting around them, like a third wheel in my own marriage. One night, I asked Emma, why does he know more about our plans than I do? She said, because you're always tired. We're just helping. I nodded, went to the garage, sat in my truck, didn't turn it on, just sat and felt it. That quiet thing no one talks about. When a line gets crossed, but no one says it out loud. And the next morning, I found his things mixed with mine. She had rules about laundry, white separate. My clothes, her clothes, never mixed. One time I threw a towel in with her blouses. She didn't speak to me for a day. So when I opened the washing machine that morning and pulled out a pair of boxers that weren't mine, my hands froze. Dark blue, faded waistband. Definitely his. I didn't say anything that day. Didn't throw them out. Didn't ask her. But that image, his underwear with my clothes, burned into my skull. It wasn't just laundry. It was a signal. A shift. She used to treat that machine like a ritual. Now she couldn't bother separating what was mine from his. That night I opened the bathroom cabinet. His razor sat next to mine. Same shelf. I opened the fridge. His favorite beer, next to my juice. Drawer in the hallway. His mail, mixed with ours. Shoes by the door. His boots beside mine. This wasn't a guest anymore. It was a replacement. She didn't look at me once that evening, but she asked him how his day was. He talked. She nodded. I listened, sitting in the same room, breathing the same air, like I was made of glass. Later, when I went to bed, I found my pillow moved. I never move it. She had changed the sheets and folded my shirt wrong. I lay there, lights off, and for the first time, I wasn't confused. I was insulted. But when my son said it out loud, I knew I couldn't stay silent any longer. It was a Tuesday. Nothing special. I came home early. Emma was in the kitchen. Chris was in the backyard with Tyler, kicking a ball. I stood by the sink, watching them through the window. They looked like a family. Emma asked if I wanted coffee. I said no. She didn't ask anything else. 10 minutes later, Tyler ran in, sweaty, laughing. He grabbed a juice box, climbed on a chair, and said, "Uncle Chris is funny." He tickled Mommy on the couch. Just like that. Like he was talking about a cartoon. I blinked. Looked at him. When was that? He shrugged. Dunno. Maybe yesterday. Or today. Then he smiled. She screamed and laughed. Then they told me to go play. My hand was still on the counter. I hadn't moved. Emma stood behind me, drying her hands. Frozen. I turned. Our eyes met. She didn't flinch. Didn't deny. Didn't say a word. Just looked away. Slow. Silent. Tyler finished his juice. Jumped off the chair. Ran back outside. I wanted to shout. Ask what the hell was going on. Smash a plate. Slam a door. But I didn't. I just stood. Heavy. Still. Because when a child says something like that, it isn't filtered. It's truth. In its rawest form. I opened the drawer. Took out a spoon. Closed it again. My hands were shaking. My mouth was dry. I sat at the table. Emma said nothing. Didn't ask if I was okay. For the first time, I had a clear, solid feeling that I was a stranger in my own family. At that moment, I decided to order a camera. I was done guessing. I wanted proof. I ordered it online. Small. Black. Motion activated. Fits in a fake smoke detector. Took 10 minutes to install. Right above the TV. I needed to see. Not feel. Not guess. See. A week passed. Nothing. Same routines. Same silence. Same soft smiles between them. But on Thursday, the notification came. Motion detected. 10:12 a.m. I was at work. Lunch break. Sitting in my truck. I opened the app. The screen loaded slow. Then froze. Then played. She walked into the living room with coffee. Wearing leggings. One of my old t-shirts. He was already there. On the couch. Legs spread like he owned the place. She handed him a mug. He said something. She laughed. Then sat. Not next to him. On him. Right on his lap. Like it was her spot. Like she'd done it before. His arm went around her waist. She leaned in. Sipped her coffee. Kissed his cheek. Like I didn't exist. I stared at the screen. phone shaking in my hand. But I didn't look away. I watched the full 67 seconds. No sound, just movement. But it was enough. More than enough. No more theories. No more paranoia. No more doubt. This was betrayal. In daylight. In my house. In my shirt. I drove home in silence. Didn't call. Didn't scream. Didn't plan. Just walked in. He was in the kitchen. Washing something. I stood in the doorway. Said, "Get your things." He turned. Confused. Then saw my face. "Rick, man." I said, "Get your things. Now." He opened his mouth again. Stopped. Nodded. 20 minutes later, he was gone. Backpack. Hoodie. No eye contact. Emma came out of the bedroom, wide-eyed. What happened? I didn't answer. Just walked past her. Closed the guest room door. And stood there alone. She came into the living room right after Chris left. Barefoot. Hair messy. Eyes alert. What did you say to him? I didn't answer. I was already opening the laptop. She watched me from across the room. I clicked the file. Hit play. The footage loaded. Emma. Chris. 10:12 a.m. Same couch. Same smile. She watched it in silence. No flinching. No gasping. Just a tightening around her mouth. When the video ended, I closed the screen. Said nothing. She sat down across from me. Folded her hands. And said, "You put a camera in the house?" That was her first question. Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "It's not what it looks like." A camera. I nodded once. She stood up. Started pacing. "You were spying on me?" Still no apology. Still no shame. I asked, "How long?" She froze. I repeated it. "How long has it been going on?" She looked at me like I slapped her. Then her voice cracked. "You haven't been here. You're always at work. You don't see me anymore." She was crying now. Not quietly. Messy, loud, almost performative. Tears didn't match the tone. Words didn't match the crime. I said, "Don't turn this on me." She wiped her face. Looked straight at me. "You think I planned this? You think I wanted this? You left me alone in that house with him." I laughed. Dry. Quiet. Dangerous. "I didn't leave you. I trusted you." She went quiet. But not for long. He understood me. "You haven't touched me in months." I stared at her. Cold. Empty. And whose fault is that? She grabbed a pillow. Held it like a shield. Then said it. Straight-faced. No tremble. "I'm not going anywhere. My son is here." She didn't even say sorry. She didn't leave. I waited. Hours passed. She made dinner. For Tyler. Not for me. We didn't speak that night. Not a word. The next morning, she was in the kitchen. Making eggs. Like nothing happened. I said, "Are you packing or pretending?" She looked up. Calm. "If you want me gone, call a lawyer. But I'm not leaving my son." Simple. Flat. Final. I stood there, trying to breathe. I could have thrown her out. Yelled. Threatened. But she was right. If she left with Tyler, I'd lose him too. So I said nothing. And I stayed. We moved into silence. She took the guest room. I stayed in ours. We passed each other in hallways like ghosts. Polite. Cold. There was nothing dramatic. No shouting. No scenes. Just two people in the same house. Pretending they weren't enemies. For the sake of a 7-year-old boy, our son. I worked. Ate. Slept. She did the same. But we were done. And we both knew it. And Tyler was the only reason we hadn't burned it all down. And in the middle of the night, I heard her laughing with him, just one wall away, while I drank water and swallowed rage. The house was silent. 1:47 a.m. I hadn't been sleeping much. I got up to grab water. The hallway was dark. Then I heard her voice. Low. Soft. Laughing. Coming from the guest room. I paused. Took 2 steps closer. Another voice, male. I didn't need to guess. I stood by the door. Didn't touch it. Didn't move. Just listened. "You should have seen his face," she said, chuckling. Then silence. Then his voice again, tinny, distant. "Chris." I leaned slightly. Through the crack of the door, I saw the glow of her screen. She was sitting cross-legged on the bed. Hair down. Wearing a hoodie. Smiling. Not hiding. Not whispering. Like this was routine. Like they always did this. She tilted the phone up. He smiled back. Like nothing had changed. Like I never existed. I stepped back. Didn't say a word. Walked to the kitchen. Drank the water. Slow. Quiet. She didn't hear me. Or didn't care. Back in my room, I sat on the edge of the bed. Blank stare. Blank mind. I didn't knock on her door. Didn't demand explanations. Because I didn't need them anymore. This wasn't a fight I could win by yelling. She wasn't coming back. And I wasn't crawling. So I waited. Didn't file anything. Didn't talk to a lawyer. Because war over a child. That's not a fight you start unprepared. Let her think she won. Let her feel safe. And when she said she was leaving, I didn't even ask where. Because in that moment, I knew it had already happened. We stayed like that for 2 more months. 2 bedrooms. 2 strangers. No fights. No yelling. Mornings were mechanical. She made Tyler's breakfast. I packed his bag. His drawings were still on the fridge. Both our names written in his shaky handwriting. Dad and Mom and me. Then, one Thursday evening, she said it. She stood by the door, keys in her hand. I found a place. We're moving next week. I didn't ask where. Didn't ask with who. Didn't say a word. I just nodded. On Sunday, she loaded the car. Tyler climbed into the back seat with his dinosaur backpack. I stood in the doorway. He waved. Bye, Daddy. See you Friday. I waved back. Emma didn't say goodbye. She just closed the trunk. Got in. Drove off. I walked into the kitchen. Took down the drawings from the fridge. Folded them. Put them in a drawer. It's been 6 months since then. I only see Emma when I pick up Tyler. Chris and I haven't spoken again. Ever. He was my best friend. But somehow, my best friend took my place. And took my family. It's not a win. Not a loss. It's life. The way it is, no apologies, no closure. We just keep going. Thank you for listening to the story till the end. That's how it goes. I tried to help my best friend and ended up replaced by him. You should never trust even your closest friends with your family. Write in the comments what you think about all this. Subscribe, more untold stories are on the way.